All right, let's talk about that daily brew. Your coffee, your tea. Is it a friend or a foe for your blood sugar? That's the big question we're diving into today.
I mean, think about it. Is that morning ritual you can't live without secretly spiking your sugar? It seems like a simple question, right? But oh boy, the answer is anything but. What is that cup actually doing inside our bodies? If you've ever tried to look this up, it's one of the most confusing questions in nutrition. One article says one thing, the next says the complete opposite. It's so frustrating. So let's solve it. We're going to cut through all that noise, dig into the real science, and figure out what's really going on. Ready? Let's do this. Okay, first up, the caffeine conundrum. We got to start with the star of the show, right? The very thing that gets most of us out of bed in the morning, caffeine. But here's the thing. Its role in this whole blood sugar story is, well, it's a real puzzle. So check this out. Caffeine is basically living a double life. On one hand, for most people, drinking coffee might actually lower the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Pretty cool, right? But, and this is a huge but, if you already have type 2, that same caffeine can make it way harder to control your blood sugar. It's like a total paradox, a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation.
And we're not talking about a tiny effect here. Let's put a number on it. We're talking about a 25% lower risk. Large studies show that regular coffee drinkers are up to 25% less likely to develop type 2 diabetes. That's a big deal.
But then you flip the coin. For people who already have type 2, one study found that just a couple cups of coffee could raise their blood sugar by 8%, an 8% jump. So you see the problem, right? Your personal health situation, whether you have diabetes or not, totally changes the game. So how can caffeine do both of these things? What's actually happening inside our bodies? Well, here's how it can interfere. First, that jolt of caffeine, it raises stress hormones like adrenaline. And those hormones basically tell your cells, hey, don't take in so much sugar right now. Then, at the same time, it blocks this little molecule called adenosine, which is involved in insulin production. So you put all that together, and the result? Your insulin just doesn't work as well for a little while. Your sensitivity goes down. Okay, but wait, caffeine isn't the only thing in your cup. Not by a long shot. To really get the full picture, we have to talk about the hidden helpers, the unsung heroes working behind the scenes. And they're called polyphenols. So what in the world are polyphenols? Well, they're these amazing compounds that come from plants. And coffee and tea are loaded with them. They're antioxidants, so they protect our cells. And get this, they're basically rocket fuel for the good bacteria in your gut. Super important stuff. And to see just how powerful these can be, let's zoom in on one in particular. There's this one superstar polyphenol in green tea, and it's a mouthful, called epigallocatechin 3-gallate. Yeah, let's just call it EGCG. So check out how this EGCG works its magic, especially when you're eating starchy foods. Imagine you're about to eat some white bread or a bowl of rice. As soon as you eat it, your body gets to work, breaking that starch down into sugar. But if you're drinking green tea with that meal, the EGCG literally gets in the way. It interferes with that breakdown process. And what does that mean? Fewer of those sugars make it into your bloodstream, which helps to blunt that big sugar spike. How cool is that? And we're not talking about a small effect here. 50%. In one animal study, EGCG cut the post-meal blood sugar spike by about half. That is a massive impact from something as simple as a cup of tea. But there's a catch, and it's a big one. You have to drink the tea with the meal. Not an hour before, not an hour after. It has to be there right when the starch is being broken down. Otherwise, the moment has passed. So with this trick, timing is literally everything. All right, so we've got this battle going on, right? Caffeine is pushing one way, and these helpful polyphenols are pushing the other. But there's a third character in this play we haven't even talked about yet, and it's a huge one, the impact of addins. And let's just be real here, it should come as no surprise to anyone. Adding sugar is the biggest problem. Full stop. I mean, the evidence on this is just crushing. A major review looked at what happens when people with type 2 diabetes regularly drink sweetened coffee and tea. The results? Not good. We're talking increased HbA1c, that's your long-term sugar marker, higher fasting glucose, higher LDL cholesterol, even higher blood pressure. Oh, and an average weight gain of 2 to 3 kilograms. It's just a laundry list of bad news. So, case closed, right? Black coffee, plain tea, good. Sugary drinks, bad. Simple. Well, not so fast, because here's where the science gets really interesting and throws us a curveball.
Yeah, get this. One study found that having coffee with milk and sugar actually lessened the glucose spike after a meal, even more than black coffee did. I know, right? It sounds completely backwards. What is going on?
So, wait a second. Is adding sugar and milk good for you? Is that what this is saying? Okay, let's be clear. Not exactly. The answer is almost certainly no. One single study doesn't just cancel out a mountain of evidence showing the long-term problems with added sugar. But what it does show is just how incredibly complex this science is. It helps explain why all the research seems so contradictory. The way fat, protein, and sugar all interact is just, well, it's complicated.
Whew, okay, so we've been through the caffeine paradox, the power of polyphenols, the whole confusion around add-ins. So what do we do with all this? Let's put it all together and figure out how to craft your healthiest brew. Let's break it down with a simple scorecard. You've got black coffee. The pro? It might lower your risk of developing diabetes down the line. The con? That caffeine could mess with your blood sugar if you already have diabetes. Then there's green tea. Huge pro. That EGCG can seriously help with sugar spikes from starchy foods. Awesome. Then you've got the sweetened stuff. And yeah, there was that one weird study, but the overwhelming evidence points to the cons: worse blood sugar control, weight gain, heart risks, the list goes on. So if you're going to remember anything, remember this. 1, for most of us, unsweetened is absolutely the best bet. 2, if you do have diabetes, you really have to pay attention to how caffeine affects you personally. It's different for everyone. 3, drinking green tea with a starchy meal, that's a brilliant little trick. And 4, and this is the big one, added sugar is the #1 thing that can turn a healthy drink into a problem. So there you have it. That's the science. Now you know about this crazy dance happening in your cup between caffeine, polyphenols, and whatever else you add in. The final choice, of course, is yours. So what's it going to be? What's in your mug tomorrow?